Hello, so we're going to continue looking at dates. So where were we up to? So I imported a datetime structure there, just to extend what Python can do. And dates are a structure. And I can create these structures by using that datetime and say I can put in a year, a month without the zero in there and the day. And then I can break those down to the day, month and the year, add values to those. I can't directly update the date structure unless I use something like a replace. I then said, okay, rather than creating those, let's grab an existing one like today, using some of the same thing by breaking it down to the day, month, and we can change how that can be formatted using the string format time. Now, one of the things we frequently need to do with days is say, well, give me the next day or the next week or the next year. So what happened last week? And we can use the system to do that. And we can basically create a timestamp to compare what we're working with. So let's look at how we do that. And there's a special structure called a time delta that allows us to do this. And delta basically means change. So rather than type this all again from scratch, let's highlight that. And I'm going to then right click, choose copy. Don't have to use Control C, Control V. And I can choose the paste from there. Let's remove that comment. Okay, so that's going to give us the same as before. So yes, we expect to see 2018 03 21. So let's have a look at creating a change structure. I know I can take that today and add a numeric to it, but it'll just change that variable. What I want to be able to do is actually be able to create a structure that I can actually change itself. So I can create that change structure, and this is using that delta. So if I try and just update the day, it'll say it's non-writable, but this structure will allow me to do it. So it's probably make more sense if I do it. So my underscore change, and that's going to equal a datetime, and then I'm going to say this time delta, and what part I want to do within this, I can then say, let's do this within days. In fact, it'll only work with days. I can't do it with months or quarters or years. So I want to say, okay, let's create a structure which is of 7 days. Let's see what that looks like, because it's not quite how you would imagine it may be. Let's run that. So it says 7 days, comma, then I've got sort of hours, minutes and seconds within there. But that structure can then be used to create a new date. So let's create a new underscore date. I'm going to equal that. And I'm going to say, okay, let's take the my today and let's add that structure. So my underscore change. And then let's print off that new date. So wonder you can think what that will be. So previously we had just made a change to a day, which was a variable. This time we're actually changing the structure itself. So the whole thing, so you can see it then picks up the years, the month, and therefore those new 7 days. And that gives us almost better power, because we can say, well, I've got a structure that I can then add and subtract. I can then work with the entire date. Oh, let's do something similar here. So let's choose a new next week. And if we take this, I'm going to copy that and I'm just going to paste that one into there. Okay, so let's take all of those 2 lines, copy that, Control C and Control V, and I'm going to call this one new last week, and therefore we're going to print the new last week. And all I need to do change here is do a subtraction of my 7-day structure from my today date. So just put a minus within there. And then previously we've got the today, which gives us the 21st of March. I'm not changing that day, that particular point. I'm literally creating a new structure. So when I run this one, I've got the today's date, I've got the structure, I've got the next week down there, and then I've got the last week, which gives me the 14th. So I can move these backwards and forwards, and well, I won't bother changing the variable names here, but let's just change the day numbers. Let's say 365. So it's saying next week and last week, but we can see here that it gives me the next year and the last year, even though the variable names aren't particularly meaningful at that. So you can see how that can work, and we can do work with it. So let's look at changing dates. We haven't quite gone into the time area. So let's just comment this out. So highlight that, Control / to comment it out. And let's muck about with time. Let's put a comment here, fun time. Okay, I need to again import what the time thing, just to get to Python to extend what it can do. So this allows me to deal with time structures. So let's, it's not entirely intuitive. You'll see. So if I put time.time as a print, and let's see what that gives us. Oh my word, what on earth is that? Okay, you can see I've got 53 in. If I run it again, 58, and run it again, 60. So you can see actually this is the number of seconds that is going up. And I've got a pretty big number there, 1.5 billion or so sort of seconds. And what this does is actually goes back to the number of seconds since the 1st of the 1st, 1970. And that's called the Epoch, the new Epoch. And so that can be useful for, not necessarily because of the number itself, but I can say, well, if I can break that down to number of seconds, I can then look at the number of minutes, hours. Also, those things in decimal places is very useful as a timer, because obviously that's highly accurate there. So look at mucking about with time in a different way. So there's a number of different structures in here, and there's a few others than the ones I'm just going to show you. If I say a local time, and then let's have a look at that, I see this sort of more complex structure here. I've got TM underscore year, month, day, hour, minutes, seconds. So the months and the days, I've actually got more over here as well, which has got things like that. Won't bother going into all those ones. But that allows me to look at these individually and to work with them individually by using that TM underscore whatever. So within here, let's say, let's put a dot within here, let's look at, say, the hours. So if I say TM underscore hour within there, and then I run that, it then gives me the 17, which is that particular one there. So I can use the name within it. Let's grab that item. It's called a special structure called a tuple. It's close to being an array in other languages. But I can grab it either by the name here, or actually by its position. Now, this is a bit trickier because the position and the item number are a bit different. So this is in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th position, but as far as the system is concerned, this is the 3rd item because it starts there at 0, a bit like it did with the characters really, didn't it? So I get 0 for the year and then 1, so the 2nd is 1, the 3rd is number 2, and the 4th one there is therefore number 3. So I can refer to this by using square brackets to say, right, this is the number that I want to do. So the 3rd item will get me the 1 in the 4th position, and therefore I should get the 17 again within there. So let's grab the first one. So the first one, what's that going to be? That's right, it's going to be 0. Yes, it takes a little while to get used to, but you do get used to it. Most programming languages use their arrays like that, but it can be very useful if you want to step through these one by one, and we've got structures that allow us to do that. Okay, so we've been looking at dates, and we made change dates. I waffled on a little bit, and then we had a bit of a muck about with time. Okay, let's have a quick look at some help then that's available. So the docs.python.org. Dates are harder to handle than numerics or strings, so it's probably worth going through and looking at the documents within here. But actually the best thing to do is just muck about with them, play around and see what they're going to come up with. And if you get stuck, then go onto the online help and see what you can find within here. So we can see we've got a time delta within there. There's a lot of information here, and you're always going to find something of interest. And go to YouTube. There's lots of ones in there. So I've got some here on importing date time. Some of them can be a little chatty and take a little while to get to the point, which can be annoying, but usually someone's pretty good. And of course Stack Overflow, which I absolutely love, which is always worth having a peek at. And these people are sort of highly expert. And there's people there looking at dates and talking about dates and kind of explaining some of the information about them, which can give you a bit of an insight, which maybe makes life easier then for dealing with those. Okay, well, good luck with all that, and have a good muck about. Thank you for listening.